laws exist for a reason. Now we're going to switch our lens a little bit at laws. First, we were looking at what principles should the laws abide to. Now we're looking at what do we need the laws for. Okay, now we're going to look at what do we need laws for. So the laws exist to serve human need, for example, or what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants human beings and society to be able to do, because humans themselves can't figure it out. If you've heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, anybody heard about Maslow's? So what are they? There's a lot of things, but 3 different categories. There's basic needs of human beings, or a need for safety and security, right? For example, food and clothing. People want to be fed. People want to be dressed. Safe. You want to feel safe. You want a home. You want a job. You want security. Yeah. Psychological needs. You want to be loved. You want to give love. You want to be loved. Friendship, family, right? Esteem. You want to be recognized. You want to be honored by other people. You don't want other people to humiliate you. These are some of the psychological needs of human beings. These are basic needs of human beings, right? And then there's self-fulfillment. So the first one that I said, the physiological needs of the body and the safety, that is fundamental. That's at the bottom. Then a little bit of a nice to have is psychological, that you want to be loved. You want to be honored. If you don't feel loved and you don't get honor, you're not going to die, right? But if you don't have food, you're going to die, right? So they kind of build up. And the last thing is the self-fulfillment. Oh, you know about that, mashallah. Yes. So that are you achieving your full potential and all of that is higher transcendental. Okay, there's another one called the spiral dynamics. At the bottom, it's survival. They call it food, water, shelter. Then tribe and family. Then above that, power and politics. The higher up you go, the more you don't need those things, but people want those things. The needs become kind of wants, okay? Truth and order, strategy, all of this good stuff, right? Islam. Now, Islam has categories. When I say Islam, scholars define the human needs into 3 categories. Easy to remember. Number 1, which is the fundamental, the critical needs that without it you cannot live, is called Daruriyat, essentials. Second is hajat, needs, right? We'll talk about them in detail inshallah now. And then there are kamaliyat or tahsiniyat. It's embellishments, they're nice to haves, nice to haves. So let's look at these 3 categories. This is why we're talking about these things. The first one, the daruriyat, the essentials. There are, scholars say, 5 essential things. Some say 6, but 5 essential things. This is another thing I want you to remember. What are the 5 essential things Islamic scholars say must be protected? Must be. These needs have to be met. Have to be. There's no other option. You have to meet these. Number 1, deen. You have to protect the deen. Deen has to be protected. For example, subhanAllah, there's wars going on, people are dying in Gaza, Palestine, for example. But are all the Muslims dying in the world? No, right? So deen is protected. Yes, people are being hurt, harm needs to be removed, but overall the deen is protected. But if anything that is harming the deen at a global scale, that has to be stopped. That has to be protected. That's number 1. Deen. 2, nafs, life. Life has to be protected. People's life has, Islam tries everything, inshallah you'll see why. Islam, all the Islamic laws point to protection of life or protection of deen. 3, nasl. Islam wants to protect the lineage, bloodlines. All laws exist to protect blood lineage. Cannot be broken. Family, basically. Family ties. Mal. Islam exists to protect wealth, property. Wal aql. And Islam exists to protect sanity, protect the intellect, protect the intellect. So what are the 5 things? A deen and life, right? And lineage, and property, wealth, and aql, intellect. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't do shirk, for example. Quran is full of that. Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. In Surah Luqman, Luqman's advice to his children. What was it? Oh, my children, do not do shirk with Allah. Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. The worst thing you can do is do shirk. Okay? Protecting the deen. So many different ayat. I don't need to delve too deep into it. For example, this is an interesting one you guys will find interesting. Inside you know this reason. You knew this reason. For example, the famous ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَا تَنْكِحُ الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنْ. Do not marry the polytheists, the idol-worshipping women, until they believe. Why? Because Islamic laws exist to protect the deen. If you marry disbelieving women, what's going to happen? Your children are going to follow the mother. It hurts the deen in your family. Make sense? So this is a very famous example of protecting the deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, even a slave believing woman is better than a mushrik woman, even though you like her more. وَلَأَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. Yeah. Okay. And the ayah goes on. You guys get the idea. So protecting the deen. So out of which you have to protect your prayers. It's part of protecting the deen because it's continuation, right? Constant reminder, Allah is your Lord. Because protecting the deen is, why is this important? Because Allah wants you to be saved on the Day of Judgment. Not just because. Allah wants you to be protected on the Day of Judgment. So you protect the deen here, so you protect it there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among them. So guarding the prayers and following all the Islamic laws, and even tolerating other people's religions, not hurting the churches, not hurting the synagogues, right? Either you make a law for them to leave, or if they want to stay, they have to pay tax. But in an Islamic land, they pay the jizya, right? You don't go and hurt religious institutions, even though they're not Muslims. So that's not part of Islam, all right? So guarding the sanctuaries, not hurting the churches, etc., right? Those kinds of things. Clear? Number 2, what was it? Nafs, protecting life, of course. The famous ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. One who kills someone purposefully, it's like he killed all of humanity. That's how grave. So protecting life, you cannot kill for any reason. Also, causing corruption that hurts and harms people. What's happening in Gaza? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our brothers and sisters. It's fasad. You are causing corruption. You're causing barbarism, genocide. All of this is happening. That we need to figure out how to protect that from happening. It's not okay for that to continue. A good Muslim will never be okay with that to happen, right? So this is, for example, commanding justice, feeding people because they're hungry. That's part of protecting life. Etiquettes of war, we talked about it. Helping others in need. Existential questions and answers like, what am I doing here? Helping people be normal human beings and helping them to be successful and helping them in their psychological needs and helping them in their physiological needs and helping them in their more monetary needs. You want to protect life. Then the third thing, aql. How do we protect the aql? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la taqrabu as-salah wa antum sukara. Don't approach the salah if you are intoxicated. So why does that law exist? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us, of course, in the salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ, that until you know what you're really saying, which means what? Knowing what you're saying in the salah is important for you. Knowing what you're saying in the salah is important for you. That's why you shouldn't be drinking. right? By the way, this is a side note. Everybody needs to know, based on this ayah, what we're saying in the salah. Intoxicants, what do? They they harm you. How? Because you are not in control anymore. You can't use your brain anymore, so you're not going to operate in a normal way. You're not now controlled. Your impulses are not in control. You're going to be angry really quickly. You're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to be able to do justice to people. You're going to harm the society, etc., etc. Drunk driving, right? You're going to go hit a car. You're not going to be able to drive properly or fly a plane properly. All of that. So it's protecting the aql. The other way you protect the aql is how? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to not be angry, even when we are not intoxicated, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, tremendous rewards for those who وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, those who swallow their anger and they are forgiving to people. What is this? It's protecting, it's encouraging us to protect our intellect. Be patient, show gratitude, right? Don't be ungrateful. All of these things align to protecting the aql. Okay, don't follow your lower desires, right? وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدَى. The most misguided person is the one who is following his desires, ignoring the guidance that's coming to them. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not guide the wrongdoers. So protecting aql is extremely important. And for example, recording knowledge in books, etc. It's all about protecting knowledge, protecting wisdom, libraries, education. All of this is about protecting the aql. And then protecting the family. For example, how protecting the family? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Surah Nisa, every khutbah has this ayah, right? يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام. You will be questioned for your blood relations. You need to do justice by the blood relations. The ayah ends by saying, Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. Watch out, Allah is watching you. Are you protecting your blood relations or not? Who is the most important person in your family? Your parents. And who among your parents? Your mother, right? And the honor and the respect you need to give. You cannot disown your parents. You cannot disown your children. You just cannot do that in Islam. There is no such thing as breaking blood lines. Even a child you adopt, right? Even a child you adopt, which is completely legal, you cannot give them your name, your last name, because they're not part of your blood. They are even though they might be really tiny and younger than you, they are your brothers in Islam, right? They don't become your child. Does that make sense? So that's all about protecting lineage. Not committing adultery, because you're going to create havoc situation. There was a legal means to have children, and you chose an illegal mean to have children, which causes societal harm in general. Now that is creating a problem. So all of those laws are about what? Protecting the family, respecting the elders, loving the children, respecting your neighbors, and it extends to the community as well. It is all about protecting family, because if the community is protected, you are protected. If what's safe around you will keep you safe, right? So all of these laws exist. You see the beauty in here now? So these are called the Daruriyat. These are called the essentials. Islamic laws exist to retain these essentials. You cannot go and, oh, I had to kill this person. Or, oh, I had to go destroy this country. Oh, I just had to break away from my parents. You just can't do those things. Oh, I just had to commit adultery. Of course there's hardly exception cases, but in general, all of these things if you don't do them, if you don't protect these 5 things, deen, everybody knows deen, life, lineage, property, and intellect. If you don't do them in general, it will cause mass societal harm. So Islam wants mass societal harmony. Clear? That's why laws exist. We didn't talk about wealth, but you can't steal from people, you can't cheat people, etc., etc. We all know that. Now now the needs. These were the Daruriyat where we talk about the five. The needs are hajiyat. Hajiyat are what? Now you know that there are essentials you cannot not protect, but there's some other things that you may need. For example, you get sick. Is it harming the whole society because you're sick? No. So if you're sick, then the Islamic laws have special laws for you in those cases. The laws can be relaxed in those cases. That makes sense? For the needs, for the basic needs. If you're hungry, you're not dying, but if you're hungry, there's special case, the situations, for example. Okay? So Sharia comes and make things easy, and we will talk about that too. And then the last thing is just nice to have things called the embellishments or kamaliyat or tahsiniyat, right? They don't hurt anything. They just benefit you, right? You want Wi-Fi at home, you want to take a break, you go watch TV. Basically everything else is halal. Anything that doesn't fall in the, you can roughly say, just generally speaking, anything that's not a darura, there's a law for. A darura has to have a law for. If it's a human need, it has to have a law. If it's a haja, the law will be relaxed for that need, for the haja. But for the tahsiniya, for something that you need, Wi-Fi, if I don't have Wi-Fi, there's not going to be Islamic law. It's just gonna, you can eat a banana, you can do whatever, those kinds of things. Making sense? So those are the essentials. Okay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيُحِلَّ لَهُمْ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. All good things, pure things are halal for you. Pure things. What does pure things mean now? Anything that is beneficial to you and society at large, and or society at large, that's beneficial. That's a tayyiba. That's a pure thing. That's beneficial for you and the society at large. وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. And what is haram for you is the filthy things that either harms you or harms the society. Very simple. Everybody understands. Islam exists, Islamic laws exist to induce purity in the society at large, not impurity.